This is a BL2 diesel-electric locomotive. This locomotive was purchased from the Electromotive Division of General Motors in 1949 by the Bangor and Aroostook Railroad. It was a time when railroads in the United States were making a transition from steam power to diesel locomotives. So it was used continuously by the railroad from 1949, and it made its last run in 1980. Well, it is, or was designed to be used to serve in multiple roles. It could haul freight, it could haul passengers, and its designation, BL, stands for branch line. So it could run across what the railroads referred to as branch lines as opposed to the main line. Branch lines frequently had bridges that could not handle the heavier weight of some of the larger locomotives. But the railroad, the Bangor and Aroostook, actually used this for all purposes. It was a multi-purpose locomotive. This locomotive was donated by the Bangor and Aroostook Railroad after it had sat idle for about 10 years. And it was quite an engineering feat in order to get it here in this museum building. It was located at Northern Main Junction, which was the headquarters for the Bangor and Aroostook Railroad, located in the town of Herman next to Bangor. Not too many miles away, but this locomotive weighs 123.5 tons. There were no tracks to bring it down here on tracks, so they had to engineer a solution to bring this heavy locomotive down here. So what they did is they hired some heavy lift cranes. Now, as I mentioned, this weighs 123.5 tons. The cranes could only lift 100 tons, so they needed 2 of them. And they put one on each end of the locomotive and lifted the locomotive off these wheel assemblies here that are called trucks. And that's where the motive power is, by the way. This is powered by electric motors, and they are, those traction motors are located by the wheels. So they lifted the body of the locomotive off the wheel trucks. That reduced some of the lifting weight, and they got flatbed trailers and put them behind a regular truck, and they lowered everything down onto the flatbed, and they drove down the back road from Herman here to Bangor. In the meantime, there was a crew here that laid the track bed, put in the ties and the rails, and when everything got down here, they used the cranes and they did the reverse process. They laid the wheel trucks onto the rails and then put the body of the locomotive back on the trucks. Then we built the building around it. So this locomotive had to come in here before we could build the building, unlike the other objects that are on display here. This is a diesel-electric locomotive, which means that it has a diesel engine, but it is electric powered. It's really an electric train. Most people think of diesel trains as being run directly off the diesel engine. This has a 1,500 horsepower diesel engine in it, but that diesel engine does nothing but turn an electric generator which makes electricity. The engineer controls the operation of that engine and the amount of electricity that is being generated by the generator, and can then send it to the electric traction motors that are located in the wheel truck or wheel assembly area. So it's actually being driven by electric motors. This diesel-electric locomotive was donated by the Bangor and Aroostook Railroad. Well, the fact that the engineer and the fireman who would be in the cab would be stuck inside of that train for sometimes hours on end and may need to go to the bathroom at some point in time. There is actually a toilet located in the front of the locomotive in this section down below the windows of the cab.